What's up, Hockey Talk Show fans? Welcome to this Hockey Talk Show quick hit. If you love hockey, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You could always get some more information at hockeytalkshow.com. We do live call-in and comment-in shows where we just talk hockey 5 times a week, live right here on YouTube and on Facebook Live. This is a quick hit. Sometimes we do live reaction shows, but essentially, if you love hockey, you will love the Hockey Talk Show. So make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Links and info at hockeytalkshow.com. Quick hit shows are basically where we focus on one bit of news that we want to give some time to. And Islander fans, I think you're going to like hearing this. Now, maybe it's not the news that you necessarily want to hear. Fire Garth Snow. That's not this. But Lou Lamoriello appears to be one step closer to joining the New York Islanders. I am not saying, guess what's coming next week, everybody? Lou Lamoriello is going to join the Islanders. I'm not saying that. But as per Arthur Staple of The Athletic, Lou Lamoriello, who has agreed and whose intention was to move into an advisory role as his contract stated with the Toronto Maple Leafs after 3 years to do 4 years as an advisor. Sources are telling Arthur Staple of The Athletic that Lou has, quote, no intention of staying on to perform in that role. This is the news that we have today. It makes sense. We've talked about this on the show before. If you're a loyal fan of the Hockey Talk Show, which if you're not, subscribe. You know that we discussed this in the past. Why wouldn't Lou want to come here and work with his kid? Why wouldn't he want to do this? We talked about him stepping aside into an advisory role with the Devils, and then 3 months later, he was the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So at the time that the news broke about Lou Lamoriello, we said this is an entirely a strong possibility, but there's no guarantees that it's going to happen. He does have a contract with the Maple Leafs. We also said that the Maple Leafs wouldn't hold him back, but we've received zero indication that there was going to be any sort of movement from Lou Lamoriello. When asked the question during the press conference where he was stepping aside up in Toronto, he said, "This is my role and I intend to do it. These are my intentions for now." He said that. I'm paraphrasing, but he left it open for the possibility that he could move on while saying in the strongest terms possible that he plans to do the job that he agreed to do when he signed the contract. We all know Lou leaves himself out, and that was an out for Lou. Now comes these sources from Arthur Staple. And we all know how sources are. Sometimes they're full of it. Sometimes they're not. I know Arthur Staple to be a very good journalist, incredibly well. He worked with Newsday while he was there. He's moved on to The Athletic since. I have no reason to think that Arthur Staple would be making things up. So somebody somewhere down the line must have said something. Why would anybody leak this, Ant? Well, leaks happen all the time. I'm not sure where this one is coming from, but I would guess that there is going to be a lot of chatter out there. My guess and my opinion is that this comes from Lou in some way, shape, or form, whether he's putting feelers out or he wants teams to contact the Maple Leafs and ask for permission to talk to him. That's how that process has to start. The Leafs aren't going to say, "Lou, you can go and see if you can find a job anywhere else." They're just not going to do that. Another team has to call and say, "Brendan, can we have permission to discuss a position with Lou?" And I think Brendan Shanahan and everybody, by the way, who's going to be incredibly respectful to Lou, is going to allow such a thing to happen. So if this story leaks out, not only do the Islanders have an in now to make a phone call, but any other franchise that's thinking about making a change or that has a GM opening, Minnesota comes to mind, is going to inquire within to see if it's true. This is the first step in a long line of, I want to go get another job. So I believe this comes from Lou Lamoriello's camp. That's just my thought on this sort of subject. I've worked for the league. I worked specifically for the Islanders. And I can tell you that there's not that many ways that leaks happen. It either comes from this side or that side. And I think this is coming from Lou's side. It makes sense if Lou wants to kind of start to inch his way out and have a team come in and ask for permission. It's not out of the realm of possibility that the Islanders were going to ask for permission anyway. The fact that they haven't asked for permission yet is a little alarming. But then again, these are just sources. Maybe they have, and we just don't know that. That's not something that any side would want to make public. It's a sensitive thing, so they certainly would want to keep that under wraps. So just to recap, sources saying to Arthur Staple that Lou has no intentions on staying on to perform in an advisory role with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That does not mean he goes to the Islanders, but he is one step closer. You got to get out of that job if you want to get into the Islanders job. And by the way, what is the Islanders job? We have no idea. We don't know if he comes in as president and oversees Garth Snow. We don't know if Garth Snow takes the elevated role of president like Brendan Shanahan does, and Lou becomes the general manager. Keep in mind Lou's age here. That is a weird thing to deal with, but also keep in mind Lou's son is the assistant general manager for the New York Islanders. So there is a bit of a closeness there with this organization. He does have family. Obviously, he was the Devils GM for years and is familiar with this area. So there's a lot of things that make sense to bring this back home for Lou into the metropolitan area. But again, nothing set in stone. But I will say we had a lot of nothingness, kind of like, the little beep on a heart monitor. And this is the first little blip. This is the first little boop, boop in this process of the possibility of Lou Lamoriello coming to the Islanders. What's the upside for the Islanders here? Obviously, not a great year for them. We've talked about that before on the Hockey Talk Show. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And also, they have a lot of work to be done. They have to go ahead and figure out how they're going to upgrade their goaltending, how they're going to upgrade their defense. I think their forwards are just fine. Obviously, you got to get Tavares on the contract. We know that. But, everything seems to be fine. The troubled areas are need a little bit more help on the D, need a better goaltender. Not an easy thing to accomplish. But if you're trying to convince John Tavares that you're working for this and you're trying to make something happen here, bringing in a Lou Lamoriello is a surefire signal that you are trying to win. So they may not be able to get the goaltender that they want. Again, Kari Lehtinen seems to be like the highest touted free agent. Sorokin might not be coming, probably is not coming from Russia. There's not going to be a whole ton of options for this team to upgrade goaltending without giving something up in exchange. So the easiest way to signal you're moving in a better direction than what you were moving in is to bring in a Lou Lamoriello. That's what we know right now. The reason this is a quick hit and not a live show is because I really can't answer much else on this. There really is no other information. This is coming from one source to Arthur Staple. End of story. That is all the story that there is. I can tell you that if anything else happens, we will have it for you right here on the Hockey Talk Show. And we'll be here to talk about it, which is the best part about the Hockey Talk Show. We don't necessarily pride ourselves in breaking news, but we pride ourselves in being a place where you can come and discuss the breaking news of the NHL on a daily basis. So if you're new to our channel, consider subscribing on YouTube or like our channel on Facebook and follow us over there. All the links and information is up at hockeytalkshow.com. Shows are also available in podcast format, so you can download them and listen to them at your convenience if you're driving or you're working out. Tune in, iTunes, Spotify, and the Stitcher app. All links are at hockeytalkshow.com. Hope to see you guys on an upcoming Hockey Talk Show. And remember, if you're following on Facebook or YouTube, hit the bell to get notifications and hover your mouse over the follow button on our Facebook page and select see notifications first and yes to all notifications so that anytime we go live to bring you some news and talk about it, you don't miss out.